Good morning, dear students. Loanable funds theory of interest. Factors of production are land, labor, capital, and organization. These factors of production collectively produce the production. It has some value. The value is called value of production. This value of production should be distributed among the factors of production as rent, wages, interest, and profit. Theories of interest. There are some important theories of interest. They are subsistence theory of interest by William Nasu Sr., weighting theory of interest by Alfred Marshall, agio or remuneration theory of interest Boombawerk, time preference theory of interest by Irving Fisher, marginal theory of marginal productivity theory of distribution, classical theory of interest, loanable funds theory of interest, liquidity preference theory of interest by J.M. Keynes. Loanable funds theory of interest. Loanable funds. Funds those are available to give or to take are called loanable funds. This theory reveals that the demand and supply of loanable funds determine the rate of interest. This theory was developed by Wicksell, Jacob Wiener, Wahlin, and Gunnar Myrdal. Supply of loanable funds. Supply of loanable funds. Some aspects are included in the are some aspects are included in the supply of loanable funds. They are savings, bank money, dishoarding, and disinvestment. Sigma S is equal savings plus bank money plus dishoarding plus disinvestment. Savings. Savings are main source of supply of loanable funds. Savings are affected by the individuals, business and government sectors. Bank money. Bank money is another source of supply of loanable funds. It is the credit created by the banks. Dishoarding. The third source of supply of loanable funds is dishoarding of fast savings. It means bring out the hoarded money into the use. Disinvestment. A part of revenue from the sale of the products instead of going into capital replacement flows into the market for loanable funds. So, loanable funds supply is equal to savings plus bank money plus dishoarding plus disinvestment. Sigma S is equal to S plus BM plus DH plus DI. There is a positive relationship between rate of interest and supply of loanable funds. In this diagram, Supply of loanable funds are shown on x-axis. Rate of interest is shown on y-axis. S curve is savings curve. BM curve is bank money curve. DH curve is disheartening curve, and DI curve is disinvestment curve. The supply of loanable funds curves are positive slope. Demand for loanable funds. Demand for loanable funds is influenced by the investment, de-saving and hoarding. Investment. Demand for investment forms the most important part in demand of loanable funds. Bulk of the demand of loanable funds come from business firms which borrow money for investment and purchasing capital goods. De-saving. Demand for loanable funds comes by the private individuals and households for their consumption needs, especially when their present consumption is higher than their present income. Hoarding. The next demand for loanable funds comes from hoarders who stores the money from the circulation. So, demand for loanable funds is equal in investment plus disheartening, dissaving plus disheartening. Sigma D is equal I plus ds plus dh. There is a negative relationship between rate of interest and demand for loanable funds. In this diagram, demand for loanable funds are taken on x-axis. Rate of interest is taken on y-axis. I curve is investment curve, DS curve is the saving curve, and H curve is hoarding curve. The determination of the rate of the interest. Rate of interest is determined when the demand and supply of loanable funds are equal. In this diagram, demand and or supply of loanable funds are shown on x-axis and rate of interest is shown on y-axis. DS, S, BM, DH, DS, DI are supply of loanable funds. I, DS and HR demand for loanable funds. The intersection of savings and investment curves is determine the rate of interest. Here they are intersect at point E. The rate of interest is determined as OR. Importance of the loanable funds theory. The theory is taken into consideration the real aspects as well as monetary aspects. The theory is taken into consideration the bank money. It recognized the dishoarding and also recognized the active role of money in determination of rate of interest. The theory states that when investment is high, income increases and savings also increases. Criticism on loanable funds theory of interest. Individual aspects of demand for loanable funds are not equal. it is not equilibrium at the point E. It is not specified and criticized by A.H. Hansen. It is only continuation of classical theory of interest. In the view of J.M. Keynes, the concept of discarding money is meaningless. This theory states only changes in velocity of money, not changes in monetary funds. Savings is depends on income, not on the rate of interest, as well as investment is depends on rate of expected profits, not on rate of interest. This is loanable funds theory. Thank you.